welcome to my podcast. Today I am going to be talking about what is free will, heaven, and hell. Alright, so let's get started. So, what do we know about free will, heaven, and hell? Do we really have free will, or are our lives mapped out for us? I'd say that's an interesting question, wouldn't you? I'd say yes to both. I know, it's kind of shocking, right? Why do I say this? Well, let me explain. Before we are born, we get to choose the life we are born into. Now, keep in mind, everything I share with you is my belief. I have no evidence, I have no proof, nothing that says that what I say is 100% accurate. So, what I mentioned to you in my podcast is what I believe and what I feel to be truth. Okay, anyway, so let's continue. So, again, we get to choose the life we are born into the life lessons we want to experience. And as we are living this life, we are given choices that will lead us down the path we choose to take, that could lead us in a different direction away from our chosen path. This is free will. We can either choose to go down this path that we are meant to go down, or we can choose to go down a different path that maybe our ego is pushing us to go down. So you got to keep that in mind too. When you hear that little voice saying, go ahead, and the other voice says, don't do it, don't do it. You know what people call your little angel and your little devil. So kind of similar to that. So, when you have that thing that feels right and feels like you should do it, that's your path that you need to go down. And if you have that little thing that says don't do it, and you don't really feel so positive and that feels more negative, I wouldn't listen to that one. Anyways, as stated before, we are guided. It's our choice whether we listen to our guides or not. If we leave this life not fulfilling our life purpose, then when you leave your life, die. While on the other side, your guides or angels, however you want to call them, I'm going to stick to guides, walk you through your life so you can learn what you did wrong and how in your next life, when you are reborn, given a chance to do it right. This will happen. Being reborn until you get it right. The life experiences you were meant to learn. So if you do not do what you meant to do, and obviously you die, or let's say you end up taking your life before it was actually your time, then you're going to go through everything that you lived through and being pointed out what you did wrong. So when the time comes for you to be reborn and you're given another chance to fix it and do it right, you will continue going through and trying to relearn that. And as long as when you finally get it right, you can choose to live in heaven or be reborn and try another life experience. I know for myself, give you a little bit of my experiences here. I've relived past life experiences, and I have had a path that I've failed to complete over and over and over again. And this life, I need to get it right. And if I get it right, then I can choose to stay in heaven or return. And to be honest, I'm kind of tired of living a life. I am ready to just be of light and live in the light for as long as I want to. And if I ever choose to be reborn again, then I'll be reborn. But right now, I need to succeed in this life so I do not have to come back. Because I'm, based on my, past experiences and my past life experiences, I have a lot to make up for. So, karma, let's just say that much. Got to be careful of that karma. Anyways, we'll get into karma later on. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. Now, what happens when you are in heaven? Well, that's a very interesting question, isn't it? There are many things that can happen. It's whatever you choose. You can be light, since that is our true form in the spiritual realm, heaven. So, if you choose a place you remember, love, a place that made you happy, you only have to think of it and it will appear. You can choose to exist in the form you were when you were alive, or a different form. Keep in mind, if there's a certain way you looked in life, you can actually become that look and have that appearance. There's some people, when they pass away, their most happy experience, their most happy memories are when they were children. And so a lot of times they appear, sometimes when they appear to people, our family members, they appear as children because that was their place that they loved the most. So you get to choose however form you want to be. Okay, you can be a bird if you love being a bird and you thought, oh, I would love to fly around as a bird. You can be any animal you want. It's just really whatever your heart desires. You can be whatever you want. And that's the wonderful thing about when you finally pass on and you are in spirit. You can transform yourself any way. You could even become a dragon. Dragons, I love dragons. There is no restrictions. Again, the movie, What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams, gives an understanding of what it would be like to be in heaven and what heaven really is. Okay, let's talk about hell. Does hell exist? Yes and no. Hell does not exist in the manner we are taught. There is no actual hell with burning tortured souls. Hell is the same illusion as heaven. If you suffer guilt and don't release it when you die, you create your own hell. It's only when you free yourself from that guilt do you free yourself from your self-created hell. Do demons exist? This is an interesting question. Since none of us truly knows, I can only give you my opinion. I believe souls that were evil in life feared judgment, or who just wanted to remain behind, allowing their anger that they had in life to grow and grow to a point after many, many, many years, to the point they morph into, appear to be demons. So, demons are, to me, demons are those who were evil in life. Is it possible demons were born? I cannot answer this for sure. I believe this is something that truly will not be answered until we die. Is it possible for our guides to become evil? Well, again, this is one I cannot answer, but I believe it's possible. Can these also be demons that some people believe? Yes, of course it is possible, but for me, I reserve my decision until after I leave this world for the next. Keep in mind, if we put enough thought into it, we can create whatever we want. So, you gotta be really careful with your thoughts and your belief, because you can morph anything to be real, whether it is or not. It is, you got to be careful on those thoughts. Now, can we ask our guides? Yes, of course we can. Will they tell us? Well, it depends. If it's for our best and higher self, maybe if they feel it's something we really need to know, if it's important to our life path or what we're doing in life, they might. They won't tell us anything we don't need to know or ready to know. Now, how can you communicate with your guides? Well, that is a simple and easy question that I can easily answer for you. However, if this is done, you need to protect yourself first with God's white light, because if you don't, you're going to draw in negative energy or spirits. And trust me, you do not want that to happen, because it's going to cause a lot of confusion and in some cases chaos. So you have to protect yourself at all times. What you do is envision yourself surrounded by a bubble of white light and ask God to fill it with His protection, and ask that the information you receive is from your guides or your angels, only your guides, and for them to protect you against anything or anyone without your permission to communicate with you. You can use a pendulum, which is basically a crystal, metal of something sort of with a long string, and you would, you hold the tip of it, and I'll kind of go into that here in a second. But that's a pen. You can find a pendulum. You can Google it. You can look it up on Amazon. You can go to a mythical store, a spiritual store, and pick one up. You can even use anything in your home. You can use a necklace. It doesn't really have to be an actual pendulum. A pendulum is anything with a string and something attached at the bottom. Okay, you can even use your computer. This is right, your computer. Okay, so what you do with a pendulum, if you decide to use this method, is hold the tip of the chain between your finger and your thumb and ask its questions. Now, first, understand what is yes and what is no. So, you say, which way is yes? And the pendulum will swing in the direction that will indicate your yes. It will then swing, and then the next thing you'll say the same thing for no. You'll ask what is no, and it'll swing in the direction for no. You can also ask what is I don't know. If it's not really sure, sometimes it'll so you can ask for that question if they're not really sure, or maybe it's something they're not willing to answer for you. You want to know that as well, so you know that direction. Now for computers, you just pull out your laptop or your computer, open a Word document, and just start typing the thoughts that enter your mind. Words, it's very, very simple. Okay, so how do you know the thoughts that are entering your minds are your guides? Well, usually it's a voice different from your own. Trust in what comes to you. This is something after time you can do without a pendulum or a computer. I also want to recommend a book series called Ariana Series, Becoming the Light. I have included the link to the purchase of the book on Amazon. The book is written by Joan Sabinski, who has been a psychic medium for over 40 years. These books are written to help activate people to their true potential. I can tell you, it really works. After I read the book, something amazing happened to me. I had a vision that I traveled out of my body through up to the planet surface, through the planet, across the universe, passing multiple planets until I arrived on a desolate planet with a being there telling me this was once my planet. However, it stopped when I became afraid of what was happening, and I was immediately brought back to my body. This is called astral projection. Astral projection is when your soul temporarily leaves your body. From that day, everything I knew changed. I started with other things happening, guides visiting me, health issues being miraculously cured. Yes, even to my shock of some of the experience I had. It's just amazing. How can anyone deny there's definitely more out there than what we believe? Okay, so what happened? Well, one time when I had bronchitis, I mean really bad bronchitis, I was lying in bed, and keep in mind I was on some medication, but I remember this clear as day, and this was several years ago. So, anyways, I'm going to continue. I was lying in bed and saw a man I knew standing in spirit by my side. Then he was sitting on my bed next to me and punched his fist through my chest and removed the illness. And the reason why I knew this, because immediately once he withdrew his hand, I immediately felt it. I felt it gone. And it was just amazing because I knew I was healed at that point. I was able to breathe better than I was before. Although I was weak, I was healed. Another time was when I had COVID. Yeah, COVID. Our most interesting thing that's happened to us in a long time. Anyways, I laid down to sleep, and when I woke up, I was surrounded by white mist, which looked like clouds, and felt I was not supposed to be there, that this was not my time. But once my mind was clear, I felt and knew I was healed, and shortly after, I started getting back to myself, being who I was, feeling normal again. Although weak, my appetite came back, and shortly after, so did my energy. I felt whole again. These are only a couple of miracles that happened in my life. Later, I will share others, along with ones people I knew also shared with me, which I am allowed to share with you. So, miracles do happen, people. I have lived through so much stuff that's happened in my life, and people I've talked to and met throughout my life, and the experiences they have. No one can ever deny there are miracles out there, that things do happen. The question is, why does it happen to some and not to others? Well, that is a very good question. And the only thing I can answer to that is that whatever our life purpose is, if our life purpose is not to go through such an illness or suffer in such a way, then we are going to be cured of that. And if our life purpose is that we suffer such an illness, then we have to go through that no matter what. And again, this is something we choose before we're born. We are given a life choice, what life we want to choose for ourselves. And we decide we want to endure this. This is an agreement our soul decides to. And there's nothing that can be done, unless you choose to veer off that path, and that would be, your ego. So if you refuse to listen to your soul and you listen to your ego can put you down the wrong path. So this is a kind of a sticky question. I mean, a sticky situation, and there's not really one good or one bad answer for that. It's just what it is, and I'm not wanting to go into it too much because I don't have a full and complete answer that I can give you. It's just a knowledge and a feeling that I have. So anyways, well, that is it for today. And please, if you have any questions, please let me know. Send me a message. Go to my website, message me there. Be more than happy. If there's anything you want more clarification on, more information on, please feel free to ask me. And just so you know, I haven't put this in my previous podcast. I try to provide a new podcast episode every Saturday or Sundays, so at least once a week. My next podcast is going to be What is Fate? And let's see. Now, for right now, what is fate? I might come up with some other things, but for right now, that's probably what we're looking at. Anyways, thank you for listening, and have a great day.